Hey guys, Jonah here, and it is a school night. I am going into the office tomorrow on the bus, but I've been wanting to drink this for a while and trying to create a bit of room in the fridge. So I grabbed this bad boy, and this was supplied by from Andy from the Royston. Thank you very much once again. If you ever get a chance to come down to Broadstairs, the Royston is where it's happening in Thanet. So Margate, Ramsgate, Broadstairs, get to Broadstairs, get to the Royston. And he gave me this for free because he said to me, I can't sell this, it's so far out of date. And I think I had a look and I was like, wow, that's crazy. But it is this beer. It's part of the Together Again series. It's called Big Fish, Little Fish. And it is Time and Tide. Hopefully it'll focus on here. Don't like my camera doesn't like these metallic kind of things. There we go. Time and Tide versus Cloudwater. And if you look down there, it's a 10% TIPA triple IPA. We turn around here, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So Big Fish, Little Fish. I would say probably Cloudwater thinks they're the big fish, and yeah, Time and Tide perhaps the little fish. Who knows? Big juicy teeper with a light finish. We have Dank Idaho 7, Pineapple Juice Eldorado, and Soft Citrus New Zealand Cascade. And basically, the Together Again series is a thing that Cloudwater do when they team up with different breweries from around the world. Actually, they've done some from way over, and basically Time and Tide are one of my local breweries. They're not the most local. They're about fourth, maybe, or fifth, even. We've got quite a few breweries around here, small ones. Don't get me wrong, but they're doing great things in the craft beer scene. They do very, very little cask. They do cask, but not much. And I kind of have a bit of a love-hate relationship to them because they have some fantastic ideas, but they take the mick with the prices. It's really expensive. And especially if you go to their tap room, they give absolutely no discount. And I have found that some beers are more expensive in their own tap room, and I mean the tap room at the actual brewery, because they do have a tap room which is in the town basically. It's in Sandwich, not Deal, but the brewery's kind of in between the two towns. And I've been to other pubs and got the same beer, cheaper than actually from the brewery itself, with 0 air miles or whatever you want to call it. So, I mean, supply and demand, you could argue that potentially. Oh, yeah. And the other really weird thing about Time and Tide is their head brewer doesn't drink beer. He likes it because of the recipe creation and the science kind of point of view. I think he's a chemist or something by trade, by training. Got into the beer world. Don't know how. I don't know if he's being strictly truthful about not drinking beer, because how can you quality control if you, well, maybe they don't. Maybe that is a big problem. But yeah, the strange things about Time and Tide, but they do make some fantastic beers, I have to say. Right, Cloudwater, come on, let's have a look and see if we can work out. Oh, I thought that was gonna say what's in there. Not really. Look at that. It says drink. Does it say drink fresh? Oh my god. Yeah, I wanted to see what the ingredients are, but it doesn't seem to tell me. Anyway, it's a 10% beer on a school night, and oh yeah, two other things. 5 minutes in and we haven't even drunk it. Andy at the Royston, I think he did this as a joke, but just for me. But anyway, look at that. He knows I'm a bit of a tight ass. Look at that. He said, "I'll charge you what it says on the label." He stuck a label on it saying 0. And it's a bit dirty in there. I've got some, if you look right in the cracks of the thing, that is official Royston stuff. All right, let's see if we can see. I'm shaking this can up all over the shop. I'm hoping it's not going to be too bad. Oh, come on, dude. This is the bit that I really want to know, because I did look at this once before when I was a bit langered. It's not going to focus on there, is it? Come on, my dude. Oh, that's the wrong way up. 22. Yeah, look, there you go. February 22. Holy Jesus. So this is almost 3 years out of date, past the best before. My God, just should we have a look at that again? Did I get that right? Yeah, it is saying 22, isn't it? 22, 22, 22. Just wow. So yeah, 2 years definitely, maybe 3 years out of date. Crazy. So this might be the worst beer ever, or it might be the best beer ever. Either way, it's going to be interesting. Right, let's do a pressure test number 1. I'm not too worried. This has been in the fridge and it has got a bit of give to the can. And I've seen cans in far worse states than this one, but I have been kind of shaking it up a bit. But that's good, because I'm sure there's been some separation inside this can. Cool. Yeah, it's gone. It's not going to explode. Right, let us get this bad boy into a glass. Wow, this is going to be absolutely nuts. So I've got the big boy out. So yeah, I have kind of shaken it up. I don't want to go all the way. Well, I might do that like right at the end, but I don't want to get. Oh, there we go. I hit something in the can. Let's have a look. Are there any severe floaters? Rewind and watch that pour, and you'll see what I see. Do you see what I see? Right at the end, there was some dark stuff. I don't like the dark stuff, unless it's stout or porter. I do not think a TIPA should have any dark stuff in there. There we go. I mean, my God. Getting loads and loads, oodles of fruit. We're talking pineapple. We're talking a bit of kind of mango-y type stuff in there. Oh, maybe a bit of peach. That sort of fruit, but pineapple's the main thing. They said there was lots of dankness in there. What are the hops? Dank Eldorado. Sorry, not Eldorado. That's the Idaho 7. They're talking that as a dank hop. I don't remember it being too dank, but this is a 10% bad boy. Now, I have been reading some of the comments that other people have made on this beer, and because I was quite excited to have, not because it's so old, but because it's collaboration beer, which is always good, and because it's a 10% TIPA triple IPA. And some people were saying that these were exchanging hands for between £8 and £10 for a can. Don't know if they're as old as this one, but maybe they are. Did they only do one batch? Unless it did amazingly well, it's unusual for Cloudwater to repeat, or they'll do what they do and say version 1, version 2, version 3. And this is not like that. So I think this is a one-off. So people paying up to £10 for this, and I got it for free. It is out of date though. That was what Andy said. He was like, "Can't be selling this. It's out of date." It's like, mate, you could sell it on the sneaky black craft matters. No, black craft market, black market. That's the one. I haven't even had any beer yet. Oh, wow, it's got quite a nice level of carbonation actually. Whoa, interesting. It's quite bitter. It's got a bit of sourness to it too. It's definitely got the dankness there. A lot of people were saying that the pineapple was kind of sweet. Not anymore. This is very much on the sour side. So if you like your sour beers, I think you'll get quite a hit out of this. A lambic IPA with fruit in. Wow, could be good. But it's definitely a juice. Yeah, like a pineapple juice or a tropical juice. You get them in the supermarket. Tropical breakfast drink. Personally, I don't like those ones. I like the proper juice. But wow, it's interesting because it's obviously the bitterness has kind of happened in the can, but it's kind of helped mold it together as well. So you're getting the hop bitterness from the dank kind of hops. In this case, they're talking about the Idaho 7, mixing with the kind of pineapple-y juice. And it hasn't re-fermented in the can, so if there was any actual sugar there, it probably would have fermented, and the can would have exploded. I don't know if I don't know if Cloudwater had problems. I think it was Brew York, if I remember. I did talk about it about the time. I think it was their Juice Forsyth, where they actually put juice into the beer and canned it, and then there were loads of beers that exploded, the cans. And I remember people were saying that it exploded even if you kept it in the fridge. So people were just, really, really worried. And that's what happens when you do proper juice, which contains sugar, fructose, into any alcohol thing and then not stop the fermentation. So you're talking cloudy beers. Obviously, do they use things like potassium metabisulfide? I can't even talk. Jesus. Yeah, as a sort of clearing thing, or spinning them works, like a whirlpool kind of thing. But there's various different ways of trying to. Basically, what you're trying to do is get the yeast out of suspension, and then if you do that, or if you kill the yeast off, you can put whatever you like in there. But it takes time, dear viewer, and that is not something that craft brewers have, or that they pay attention to. Traditional breweries, I mean, I'm thinking places like, especially the sour beers, like Cantillon is a good example, where they leave beers for like 3-4 years in casks before they even think about bottling. It's an art. It is an absolute art. It's not as craft beer science. It is definitely an art form. Blending. Oh my God, don't get me started. But some of these up and comers who think they're doing it right really do not have a clue because they don't have the experience. And their head brewers, their master brewers, are in their 20s. Wonder what could go wrong. Well, Brew York is a good example. Cheers. Oh, it's very medicinal as well. Not just because of the 10%, but I mean, wow, look at that sip. That was a proper sip, man. That's a 10%er. Jesus. Oh, but I'm getting like yeah, I've said it before, but I'm getting that kind of whiskey from the islands, up in the basically in the Icelandic kind of sea. Um, or it would be the Atlantic, but you're talking yeah, whiskies from the Hebrides, um, the inner and outer, but also Islay and Jura. Jura's not so much, but Islay whiskies, Jesus Christ, they hit you with this phenolic kind of properties, and that's what I'm getting from this. In normal beer, anything kind of phenolic, and when I say that, I mean sort of TCP like, is an off flavor. It is 100% an off flavor, and it's an off flavor in this beer too. Obviously, it is. But I think that's because of the age. But it's a testament to Cloudwater and Time and Tide that this beer has survived reasonably unscathed. If I die tonight, if I die, think only this of me, that there is some foreign brewery that is forever England. Rupert Brooke there. Yeah, my goodness, this is like, I mean, it looks like juice too, don't you? I mean, it's so cloudy. It's absolutely nuts. Crazy stuff. Wow, I'm getting on the nose too. It's weird. It's phenolic, but it's also, maybe that's what happens to dankness, um, when it's aged. So it's, I mean, a TIPA is an unusual beer to age because you want to drink it fresh, you want to taste that real dankness, you want to chew on hops, basically. That is the purpose of TIPAs. You have a strong beer. They call it an IPA, but you could almost call it an imperial pale ale. That could be, instead of a TIPA, it's an IPA, but an imperial as opposed to an India pale ale. I wonder, back in the day when you had a ship going round Africa, you know, 3 to 6 months, depending on the winds. You know, they didn't have engines. Might have been in the doldrums when you're coming round the Cape Horn. Uh, my God, wax lyrical because, as I said before, my family, or part of my family, a strain of my family comes from Africa, on the Indian side, the Indian Ocean side. There's loads of pirates and dodgy shit goes on there these days. Don't go there for your holidays. It is dangerous to go there. I've never been to Africa. I would actually love to go. My nephew has gone there. He did building houses with clay and horse manure for tensile strength in the batter. Yeah, cool, man. Well done, well done. Dan, his name is. So Dan, if you're watching this, cheers and beers to you, my friend. Um, wow. Um, Let me dive in because we're coming up to 20 minutes now. This is a sipper, not a teeper, a sipper. It's getting incredibly bitter now as I go down the glass. I'm going to put that down. Oh. So it has kind of settled out a little bit, but I'm still getting that pineapple. I'm getting an obscene amount of bitterness. I'm getting the TCP, but in the background there, I'm still getting the pineapple, which is incredible madness. Obviously, I can't really score this beer accurately because it should not have been left this long. But there we go. That's big fish, little fish. Oh, I should do that. Big fish, little fish, cardboard box. If you were around in the 80s, then you didn't really remember that you were there. Was that the 60s? I don't know. Ridiculous beer. If you can get hold of this, you'll know exactly what I mean. It's crazy. Cloudwater. A lot of people have said they've kind of gone over the peak and are at a slightly inner trough nowadays, trading on previous triumphs. And Time and Tide are just weird, very, very weird brewery. Some people, especially around here, don't forget, this is a local brewery to me. Pardon me. This brewery is probably under 10 miles from my gaff. I could cycle there, I think, going round the coast, which would be pretty good. I can definitely get to the tap room. This is a little bit easier to get to. A couple of stops on the train or a cycle. This has been Unclejona drinking interesting beers in interesting times, so you don't have to. And of course, for your entertainment. So thank you for going on this voyage around Cape Horn with me. I wonder if their beers were that bitter. Wow, that's an interesting thought, isn't it? I've got to do a presentation on IPAs in February, actually, so I need to start thinking about it. I might try and do some stuff this weekend. But don't worry, in the meantime, I'll be back, and I'll be back, like Arnie says, with another beer review coming up real soon.